Just to begin, I'm going to call upon, we'll call upon one of our board members, Kirk Rockwell, who's going to just quickly explain. I know a lot of you have already sent a note out previously, and at the door we spoke about the Slido technology, which is going to allow you to submit questions. And so, as I don't understand any of it, I'll turn it over to Kirk, who I think does.
Sure, it's pretty easy. Hi, everybody. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, so as I'm sure you probably have seen, or as Steve mentioned, I told you at the door, but we're using a program called Slido. It's really easy to use. You just use the QR code as the simplest way. Sorry, it's not up there anymore, but it will be again. Use the camera on your phone, and it'll take you right to it. You will have to put in your name, just so that we can see who's asking questions and things like that. Yeah, so that's kind of about it. There's another feature on there where if somebody has asked a question and you really like it, there's a little thumbs up button. So you can kind of upvote the questions that you like the most to the top. And so then once we get to the part of the evening where we're asking those questions, we'll take the ones that are sort of the most popular, that people have shown the most interest in having answered by our candidates. Yeah, two of those. We are going to have a bunch of predetermined questions that the candidates will be asked first. So, as you're going through that, if you think it's been covered by them, don't ask the question again, just to avoid the repetition of that. I guess another tip is, you're limited in the number of characters you can use when you're asking your questions, so kind of avoid, backstory and preamble and things like that as much as you can, just to make sure that we've got a nice sort of concise and efficient question there. And then I think, the last point is just be polite, be professional, and be relevant. As much as we'd like these folks up here to solve, world hunger or world peace and things like that, I'm not sure it's in their mandate as an aspiring counselor to do that. So let's keep our questions sort of within the realm of of our community and the city of Edmonton. So I think that's about all I had to say. So with that, I'm going to get the QR code back up on the screen. I will add, if you're not comfortable using the QR code, you'll see it says slido.com. You can go there and there's a code that you could enter as well, but the QR code is easier, but just in case there are two ways to do it. So you'll see as we get to the next one, actually, as well. Down. Yeah, so there you go. You can see there's questions on there already. So get on the app, ask the questions, look at what people are interested in asking, and yeah, that's all I've got to say. So hope you have a great evening, and yeah, see you soon.
Before introducing our moderator, I thought I got assigned the really fun duty of taking you through the agenda, so at least you know what to expect. Each candidate's going to have a minute for an opening statement. Following that, there's going to be 3 rounds of questions. First round, 5 questions. Everyone's going to answer all the same questions. So each candidate will answer, and they'll have a minute to answer each question in the first round. Second round, we call the short snappers. And it's going to be a series of 5 questions. You got 10 seconds, yes, no, or pass. The third round is 3 questions, 2 of which, first 2 will be the ones chosen through your audience participation in the use of Slider. There'll be 1 minute each candidates to answer, and the last question will be a minute and a half, which will be the final question from ourselves. Excuse me. And then there'll be a closing statement where each candidate will have a minute and a half, and that'll be the end of the proceedings. We've developed, in addition to this technology, we've chosen high tech to let the candidates know they have 15 seconds left in their response time. It's going to be so wrap it up. I got confused by everything else, so I thought I'm my school teacher, and there it is. So hopefully it'll work. So that said, I'd like to now introduce our moderator. And if you are a regular listener, as am I, CBC Radio, you'll be very familiar with the voice. For the past 25 years, Min Dhariwal has graced the CBC TV and radio airwaves, most recently as co-host of CBC's afternoon radio show, the very popular Radioactive. With a broadcast career that has spanned the world from India to Italy, with side stops to various Stanley Cup finals and Olympics in between, we are very, very pleased and honored to have you with us tonight. So on behalf of the Crestwood Community family, I'm honored and delighted to welcome Min Dhariwal as our moderator and ask you to join me in a round of applause as I turn the mic over to him.
I love the bell. I'm just going to say right here. I won't abuse the bell though, so I will be fair. But thanks, Steve. Thanks for that really nice introduction. And to you and Kirk and everybody else who has been part of helping organize this evening. I think this is great. What a turnout. I'm not shocked to see a turnout like this. I thought it would be standing room only, but it feels like a lot of the stories that are going on in Crestwood, a lot of the issues in Crestwood, I think many different communities around the city are keeping an eye on that, and it sure feels like the issues in Crestwood have been on both our morning and afternoon shows quite a bit. So that's a reflection of how much people care, I think, in the community. And you know, I've got friends who live in this community as well, who run businesses around here. So I'm somewhat in touch with what's going on in your community, even though I live on the other side of the river. So yeah. Steve kind of outlined how things are going to work today, and I think we're going to start off with introductions from the candidates. So we will start with Reed Clarke here, just to my left, and Reed, you have a minute to go.
Okay, you let me know when I'm ready to go. I'm going to keep this on time. I'm going to start it off in a great way. And keep me updated on the Blue Jays game too, man.
Okay.
Okay, let's go. Good evening. I'm Reed Clarke, and I'm running for City Council because our community deserves leadership that listens, collaborates, and delivers results. I was born and raised here, bought my first house here, welcomed my son home from the hospital here. I've seen firsthand how strong our communities become when we work together. In my career as CEO of the Edmonton Stingers and Sport Edmonton, I've learned that when the right people come together at the right time, real results follow. Results that build pride, opportunity, and a better quality of life for everyone. For too long, our voices have been sidelined by council. We've been told to get on board with their agenda. This is not how City Council works. As your councillor, I'll change that by keeping an office in the ward, holding public hearings that fit your schedule, ensuring city spending is accountable through smart budgeting, and fixing the zoning bylaw that isn't working for our communities. Together, we can restore trust, rebuild pride, and make City Hall work for the people again. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to earning your support.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Reed.
Get that in.
Just over a minute, so that's pretty good. Way to start us off. Next up is Nicky Gocuan.
Good evening, I'm Nicky Gocuan, running to be your city councilor for Ward Nakota Isga. This is my home where I've lived, worked, and raised my family. I bring over 8 years of operation leadership, 5 years of security consulting, and government experience. So I know how to tackle challenges and get results. For over 2 decades as a journalist, I've listened to people's stories and turned those stories into action. My priorities are clear: community safety, fixing the infill bylaw, and making core services work better for everyone. Let's position our ward into a destination for small, medium, and light commercial businesses so we can create jobs, grow economy, and keep taxes low. I've knocked on thousands of doors and will continue to listen so together we can make the change happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nicky. Next up is Rajah Maggay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rajah Maggay, and I'm running to be your next independent city councillor for Ward Nakota Isga. I was born and raised right here in Edmonton's West End. I grew up using the same parks, roads, and rec centers many of you do today. I know what it means to build a life here, to care about the character of our neighborhoods, and to want a city that works better for all of us. I've spent the last 5 years inside City Hall working for the Ward Nakota Isga office, advocating for policies and projects that make a real difference for residents, from improving transit reliability to supporting small businesses and community safety. As a small business owner and nonprofit co-founder, I also understand firsthand the challenges families and entrepreneurs face in an increasingly expensive city. I'm running because I believe Edmonton deserves leadership that listens, collaborates, and delivers. Leadership that balances growth with livability and brings people together around shared goals, not divisions.
Bit of a power trip with this bell, I have to. But you guys are doing great. Thank you for that, Rajah. Next up, we have Joseph Mugodo.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joseph Mugodo, and I'm running for Edmonton City Council in Ward Nakota Isga. My journey here began over 20 years ago, coming to Edmonton as an immigrant in search of opportunity. This city welcomed me, and I built a life here as a husband, a father, a business person, a community advocate, and operations manager responsible for multi-million-dollar budgets. That professional experience taught me two things. Fiscal discipline is non-negotiable, and when leadership is lazy or detached, the people always suffer. I'm not a career politician. I'm running because I'm tired of the old guard, making excuses for failing at the delivery of core services, constantly justifying soaring taxes and standing by a social disorder in our city increases more over month. My campaign built on the hotspot vision is about bringing zero-based budgeting to the city hall, demanding accountability and putting people over politics. I'm here to be a voice that listens, learns, and acts to fix the foundation for our city so every single Edmontonians can thrive. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. And last but certainly not least, Diana Steele.
Good evening. I want to begin this evening by recognizing your hard work in our city. You are doing everything right. You show up, you pay your taxes, you follow the rules, you contribute as good neighbors, and you don't make a ton of noise. Yet many of you feel let down by a system that is ignoring your needs. You're frustrated with policies that dismiss the life you've built, forcing changes that defy common sense. You're tired of navigating endless construction, worrying about unsafe public transit, and paying more in taxes but receiving less services. Worst of all, your home, the biggest investment of your life, is threatened by poorly planned infill projects. And when you finally have the courage to speak up, you're unfairly labeled as NIMBY or privileged. I want you to know that I stand with you. I am you. I'm here to offer a path forward that puts you, the silent majority, first. And if you give me 4 years, I'll deliver practical, common sense solutions, many of which you will hear tonight. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you to all the candidates for the introductions. Is construction an issue in Crestwood? Oh, that's just a joke. Okay, I like the start. Very robust, and as Steve outlined, we have 3 rounds of questions now. So again, you'll have a minute to give your answer, and we've got the lineup for who's going to ask the question after each other. I'll name the names as soon as you're done. So we're going to start with the round one of the questions. So it's going to start. The headline is priorities. So what are your top 2 priorities in your first year on council if you're elected? So we're going to start with Nicky first. So Nicky, if you're ready to go, give me the thumbs up and then we'll get going.
So top 2 priorities would be first that we'll have to go to the budget and look at the budget and go line by line. So we can separate between wants and needs. And if it's needs, then let's do it. Wants, let's set it aside for now. We might do it later. And secondly, community safety first. Without safety in parks and in transit and in our communities, it will be a problem we can't even do business too. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Nicky. Rajah, you are next. Question is, what are your top 2 priorities in your first year on council?
So my top 2 priorities, and this is what I've been hearing at the doors, is affordability and growth. So within the last 4 years, our city has grown by 200,000 people. And so we really need to figure out as a city how to restructure our priorities with the growth that we've been seeing so that it's sustainable, so that the services actually work for the people. And really, I'm running to make sure our city is more affordable, safe, and better connected with reliable services.
Thanks, Rajah. Joseph, you're next. If you need me to re-ask the question, just look over at me, but otherwise I'll let you carry on. Okay?
Okay, so for me, my 2 main major issues I will tackle first will be the issue about the infill issue, the bylaw about the new infills. I want this to be suspended and looked after as one of my first priorities. And the second one I'm going to look at is the tax rises. I want also them to freeze the tax increases as one of my major issues. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Joseph. Diane, you're on the mic.
So my two top priorities will be fiscal responsibility. We would do a zero-based budgeting, strip the budget down to nothing, and rebuild it, justifying every single expense that the city faces. And infill. I'd like to remove the ability to do the mid-neighborhood multi-level developments right on day one.
I'm not against applause, so what we'll do is after each round of questions, as soon as everybody's done or the last person's done, then we can save our applause for that. Otherwise, we will be here for quite a while tonight. Reed, you are last with your response to what are your top two priorities in your first year as council?
One of my top priorities coming into this council, if I'm so honored to be elected, is actually set a tone of collaboration. Right now, we've seen this city council not work together with each other, not work with the province, not work with the feds, not work with a whole bunch of different organizations. That needs to stop. We need to be able to work together to get things done. And second is what I've heard the doors from day one is about the infill bylaw and changing that and making amendments to that right away to take the unit number down, to focus on the corners, to focus on nodes and corridors. So that would be my top two priorities to get done if I'm so honored to be elected. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, folks. Okay, so that is the first question. We have 5 more. We're going to start with Rajah now on the second question, and this one is about taxation. Taxes have increased approximately 22% over the past 4 years and are currently scheduled to rise at least 6.8% next year. What is your opinion on this rate of tax increase, and how would you balance the need for services and concerns about taxation?
Yeah, and so this has been the top issue across the board that folks have been bringing up in terms of affordability. And so you've probably heard the term zero-based budgeting that has, all the candidates are going to talk about tonight, where it's the city goes with every single city department, with city councilors, with city unions, and justifies each cost within every single department. But that only works if we base it on results so that folks actually see the city services and the value for the taxes that they pay. So, I think what we've heard from folks is that the city needs to be more thoughtful in how they're spending and make sure that we see the result for the tax that they're paying.
Thank you for that. Rajah, Joseph, you are next.
Okay, for the tax issues, I'm going to look at, for the tax, I want it to freeze all the increases. As soon as we get into the council, we have to freeze the tax increases. And people are going to say, so where are we going to get the money? We are going to diversify how we are going to get our money. We have to diversify where to get the money. And also, we're going to audit the wasteful spending, and the money we save there can go and save most of our core priorities we need. Thank you.
Thanks, Joseph. Diana, you're next.
So we all know we are receiving less services for the taxes that we pay, and we can't do anything about the upcoming year. That tax increase is already locked in. But we're currently $5 billion in debt, paying $400 million in interest. And the reason I'm such a fan of zero-based budgeting is because we need to find things like Edmonton Tower, where we're renting 17 floors at $1 million per floor, and most of the city employees are working from home. So those are the kinds of expenses that we can eliminate right off the bat, which will eventually either freeze your taxes or ultimately not raise them or hopefully maybe lower them. But that's exactly what I would be looking to do to help you receive more for the money that you are paying.
Reed, you have the floor.
And the question, sorry, again, was just repeat it for me one more time.
Taxes have increased approximately 22% over the past 4 years and are currently scheduled to rise at least 6.8% next year. What is your opinion on this rate of tax increase, and how would you balance the need for services and concerns about taxation?
We've all seen the dramatic increase, and it's been passed on to property owners and homeowners over the last 4+, even a decade years. And there's no debate the city is growing and we need to accommodate those with services for all these new Edmontonians. But those cannot come at the expense of all these different property owners. We need to find additional resources to come in, aka new businesses coming in and making sure that we maintain the businesses that are here and they're not going to adjacent communities. And we need to find places to save in the city of Edmonton budget. There's been reports that have been out there before. We need to relook at those and find opportunities where we can find those savings. Zero-based budgeting is a great opportunity to do this. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy, but we need to go line by line. And I've worked in organizations that run them with $1 million budgets, hundreds of people. So I know how to do that, and I'm the right person to take on that job. Cool. Let's go.
Still had 15 seconds, but okay. Thank you.
All right,
for that answer. Let's finish this round with Nicky.
So yes, everyone has talked about zero-based budgeting, and that's important. Again, let's go to wants and needs and identify those, and make sure that we're putting the money where it should be. Services are very important. We know that, and people have complained about their snow removal, their pothole repairs. They're not seeing that. I've not heard of anyone complaining about paying taxes if the services are there. They're more worried because they're not seeing any increase in services. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to everybody for answering that second round of questioning. The third round of questions has to do with public safety, and I think we can all agree that that is an issue that is citywide. In Crestwood, it is an issue as well. Public safety is regularly raised as an election issue. Do you have suggestions as to how the city might improve public safety, especially as it relates to the downtown and the LRT? So for this third round, we will start with you, Joseph.
Okay, for public safety, I think what we need to do is for the LRTs, we need to increase lighting. We should have more lights so that it's safer for people to walk during the evening when they are going to work or whatever they are doing. And also, we should also increase patrols. The police should also increase the patrols during, especially the areas whereby are always the hotspots. We should always increase patrols there and the lightning on LRTs. Thank you.
Diana, over to you.
So we can all agree that what we are doing right now is not working. It hasn't been working for years. And currently the council and the Edmonton Police do not have, their relationship is completely fractured. So a new council needs to go in and rebuild that relationship. And we need more police on the streets. We need more active presence. And we also need to start encouraging some of those citizens who are not interested in being productive members of Edmonton to leave. So I'm just like you. We have people breaking into our garages. We have people breaking into our cars. I see the stories on the Facebook pages all the time. So it's time for our city to take a little bit of control and clean up our streets so that we feel safe again.
Okay, thank you for that answer. Reed, you're next.
Yeah, if we don't have safe communities, we don't really have communities. It's really the backbone of everything we have across our neighborhoods, right? So we're seeing this from downtown all across the West End, that people don't feel safe. And perception is reality, I always say. If you don't feel safe, then you're not safe. This council is going to have a great opportunity. We've got a new police chief who just got sworn in a few weeks ago, and we really need to start working with them and say, how do they do community policing? How do they engage their officers to be involved in this? Because, you know, a lot of them were hired during COVID and maybe had different ways of doing things that we need to adjust as we're coming out of that period. So I think that's where we start. And then we also have to lean on, the province and use their resources and their funding to kind of help our situation so we can get this under control. Thank you.
Thanks, Reed. Next up is Nicky.
So yes, technology plays an important role today. So we'll definitely empower technology because we don't have enough police officers. We'll continue to hire more police officers so we can patrol the LRTs and light up the city because, if it's too dark, then, you get a lot of people going around and doing their stuff because there's no one there. Another thing is we need to bring back people to downtown because if there's no people, then that's when they vandalize the city. I've seen this because I used to work for 5 years as a security consultant, and I've seen and seen many things in downtown. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Nicky. Over to you, Rajah.
Yeah, so I think when it comes to community safety, we need to take a balanced approach with local improvements like street lighting, making sure that spaces are visible, crosswalks versus police presence, and having long-term solutions like housing with proper supports and outreach. So I think we need to make sure that we also advocate for solving the root causes of these problems. Housing with integrated social supports, looking at successful pilots in La Pearl or Kenora, and knowing who to call for what. You know, there is a new police chief, there's a new police commission, and looking at who has responsibility for what and making sure that relationship with council is a transparent one. They have a new police funding formula where their budget is adjusted to inflation and growth. So we have to look into where their resources are used best, and so they can be within communities rather than, you know, waiting for things to happen, being more proactive with their approach.
Okay, thank you. So we're halfway through this round, so 3 more questions to go. The next question will have to do with teamwork, which I must say you guys are all working together really nicely up here today. So the question is, the nature of council is that it requires collaboration. How would you work with other councillors and the administration to build consensus for effective governance? Diana, let's start with you.
That's a great question. Personally, I think I get along with everybody here. We've all become quite friendly, but I wouldn't be working with any of these individuals if I was elected in. I'm someone who is happy to work with anybody as long as we're there to get the job done. So that's the most important thing to me. If I'm working with a council who is along the same sort of mind frame, thinking common sense, here for the people, listening to the majority and what they want to see happen, then I think we'll all work together just fine.
Thank you for that. Reed, you're next.
Yeah, I think anybody who knows me or knows about my career and my experience knows that I'm all about collaboration and working together. Whenever I've gone into an organization, that's always been one of the first things to do is how do we reset the vision, mission, values, and how do we get people on board? When people are on board and they see what we want to do in the future, then they want to come and help out and be a part of it. And I think that's, as I mentioned in my opening, that's a day one thing that we have to set with this council, because people have to realize that they're actually working to move Edmonton forward. They're not kind of holding Edmontonians back and getting in their way, which is some of the things I've heard at the door. So it's about setting that tone from the top, from the mayor to all the councillors. This is going to be a different council, and we're actually going to take the opportunity that really Edmonton has in front of us, and we're going to run with that and actually make this city great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Reed. Next up, Nicky.
So yeah, it's very important to work together. Definitely, as a journalist, I've worked with a lot of people, and I have no problems talking about issues. We can agree to disagree, but we have to work together for the people. And first in mind is the people, what we can do for the people, and it's by the people. Thank you.
Next up, Rajah.
So on City Council, I would be one of 13 votes. But progress comes through collaboration and making sure that you work together with your fellow city councillors to advocate for the needs of the West End. Because there have been decisions in the past where maybe the West End has gotten the short end of the stick when it comes to infill, where that vote was really close, where you had suburban councillors making decisions on mature neighborhoods. So I want to bring a mindset that is rooted in collaboration, empathy, and accountability to make sure that we have a solutions-oriented and focused mindset, because this next council doesn't have time to learn. They have to hit the ground running to make sure that they can address the issues that are impacting people right now.
And last but not least, Joseph.
As someone who has a master's in leadership and someone who has worked in a big organization with thousands of workers as an operations manager for more than 15 years, it's very easy for me to work with 12, 13 people in one room and make sure we collaborate and work together. Thank you.
Okay, all the candidates, thank you for the answers for that round. The next title for the question is Governance and Accountability, and we will be starting with Reed. So how would you keep residents informed and meaningfully engaged in major decisions before your vote at council?
Thanks for the question. How do I keep residents engaged? One I mentioned is I really believe in actually having a ward office, a place where people can come that's easy to find and to actually have discussions about issues. I think that's a really important thing, so you don't have to come down to City Hall. I think there's a lot of things we can do with the communication that the city goes to the residents and the citizens. I don't think that's really being done well. It doesn't seem like people really know what's going on. I'd like to change that and actually have that done through social media and even some old school approaches as well. So I think the out there as much as possible. So that's how I will do that.
Nicky, you're next.
How I will do that is do monthly town halls to start with. Depends on the temperature and what people think. And if they believe that it's too much for once a month, then we can do it quarterly. But we will also utilize technology, so it will be easier, so you don't have to go to City Hall. As I've said, it's been very difficult. People are not listening, and people are busy. You live a busy life. Let's make it easier for you.
Thank you, Nicky. Rajah, over to you.
Yeah, so this is a really great question. So 10 years ago, I actually started volunteering on the City of Edmonton Youth Council, and I was the chair of the Engagement and Outreach Subcommittee. And so really, I went out into communities with a bunch of young people from around the city talking about the issues that were really impacting them on a city level. And, when it comes to engagement and collaboration, it has to be transparent, it has to be accountable, and be really consistent. This job is about doing it well every single day, so folks know that you're there and accessible, and that you're easy to reach, whether that is a phone call, an email, a Facebook comment, whatever it is, and going out to where people are. So doing things maybe a bit untraditionally as well. I've been visiting senior centers across the board. We visited 9 out of 13 of them so far, and it's been great to have that opportunity to talk with people where they're at.
Thanks, Rajah. Joseph, over to you.
As someone running as an independent in this election, I will make sure all the major decisions I make, I will make sure I will come and consult my constituents, which is my ward, and I will make sure you have a say in all major decisions at the council. Thank you.
And Diana, final word to you.
So it is important to me to remain engaged with the community. So town halls, attending community league meetings are just an example of ways you can get involved and stay connected. I actually really like Reed's suggestion of having an office in the ward, and maybe you have office hours set once a week where you go there and people can come and find you if they want to have a conversation. And I always answer my phone. I'm a real estate agent. That's part of my gig. I have to say hi. So I will always answer my phone, and everybody who's ever called knows that they get me on the phone every time. So. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. A round of applause, if you'd like, for our candidates. Okay, and now the last question for round one is, it's a doozy. Bike lanes. You may have, it's a polarizing issue. I think that has gained national attention, and for good reason, in our city. The question is, what is your position regarding adding more bike lanes? So we'll start this last round with Nicky.
So, as you know, I am not for bike lanes. Borrowing $100 million doesn't make sense. We are in debt, so why are we borrowing $100 million to create bike lanes? I'm not against bikes. Let me make it clear, but I am against borrowing $100 million instantly to create bike lanes. If there is really a need for bike lanes, then we'll build it slowly. But there's a lot of trails in our city, so we need to revisit that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Nicky. Rajah, you're next.
Another great question. I love talking about bike lanes. So, in the context of bike lanes, it's also a part of a larger conversation around traffic safety. So as someone who bikes, I make the joke that I'm really not built for the road. I should not be there. So I support having safe transportation and options for everyone. And, the $100 million for bike lanes is to establish a network that goes throughout the whole city. And in most West End neighborhoods, a dedicated protected bike lane, that's not needed everywhere. What you do need is shared use paths so that bikes, strollers, people in scooters or wheelchairs can use all of those. So it actually equalizes that so that people are off the road. And, infrastructure should also reflect community context and needs too. So, maybe don't build a bike lane on every single street, but there has to be context to that as well.
Thank you, Rajah. Joseph, over to you.
Okay, so for bike lanes, as someone who has traveled a lot, I have seen a lot what other countries are doing. I'll give you, for example, some major cities like Tokyo and London, they use bikes, but the bikes should be used to complement the transport system we have. Not, for example, what I'm seeing here, they are taking out our roads and putting bike lanes. That's wrong. They should be used to complement. For example, the bike lanes we can have some bike lanes to LRTs, which will take us to the LRTs from our house to the LRTs, something like that. But not to remove the roads and we put the bike lanes. We should use them to complement the transport system we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. Over to you, Diane.
So I'm just going to repeat exactly what Joseph just said. I'm against bike lanes when we are removing lanes of traffic to put in a bike lane. And we have 775,000 drivers in Edmonton. We have 2% who ride bikes. And I'm with Nicky in that we are $5 billion in debt, paying $400 million a year in interest. We don't have the money for bike lanes at this time. I'm not sure if any of you know about 132nd Ave, where they've removed 2 lanes of traffic to put in bike lanes. And so a 4-lane road is now a 2-lane road. And if you have 2 buses going past each other at the same time, they can't actually do it. So we need to be smart with the decisions that we are making about bike lanes.
Thanks, Diana. Diane, sorry. Reed, you get the last word on this one.
Okay, I get the last word on bike lanes. This is a topic that comes up the doors all the time. And I always say bike lanes work where they work, right? We don't need to push bike lanes, dedicated bike lanes into communities without having their input in exactly how that needs to be done. And that's been done too many times. There's too many examples of traffic lanes being taken away for bike lanes. They're important. I love using bike lanes. I use them with my kids all the time. It's great to have them. We also need some actual measures, so some data. We can see how much people are using these bike lanes. It doesn't cost a lot of money to get that done. And I think if we could actually get that database approach, we could see which ones are being used and which ones we maybe need to develop and continue on further. So I think that's a start with it. It's part of the transportation network, but it does make sense to have a shared use path that maybe isn't taken away from a road transportation unit, where still the majority of people use their cars to get around and take kids to soccer practice and drive to school, and that's still what Edmonton does.
Okay, thank you, Reed. Thanks to all of you for answering all 6 of those questions. That's a lot of questions, so a big round of applause, please. Okay, so as mentioned, 3 rounds of questions in case you came in a little late. We have just completed the first round. The second round is aptly called the lightning round questions. I think Steve likes game shows because he's got a bell and he's called it the lightning round. So that's pretty cool, Steve. I like it. So in this round, you'll each get a question and you can either answer yes, no, or not certain, or if you'd like to pass, you can say that as well. So we're only giving you 10 seconds for each answer. And we're going to start the first round of questions with Rajah. So the first question is, do you believe there to be an issue regarding council transparency?
No.
Okay, thank you for that. Joseph?
May you repeat the question again?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, if you need me to repeat the question, please ask. Do you believe there to be an issue regarding council transparency?
With me in council, the answer will be no.
Okay. Doesn't get any more clear than that. Diana, over to you.
At this time, yes, there is an issue with transparency.
Reed?
Yes.
And Nicky?
Yes.
Okay, that was quick and easy. Okay, round 2 of the questions. We will start with Joseph. The question is, do you support extensive neighborhood consultation regarding zoning bylaw changes?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Nicky?
Definitely yes.
And Rajah?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Question number 3. Should residents receive notice of any redevelopments which are within a specified distance from their property? Start with Diana.
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Nicky?
Yes.
Rajah?
Yes.
And Joseph?
Yes.
Okay. Question number 4. Should residents have the right to object to any redevelopment within a specified distance from their property? Start with Reed.
Yes.
Nikki?
Yes.
Rajah?
Yes.
Joseph?
Yes.
Yes.
And Diana. Okay. Thank you very much. And the last question. Do you support an extensive cost efficiency city budget review? We'll start with Nikki.
Yes.
Rajah?
Yes.
Joseph?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
And Reed.
Yes.
Okay. All right, that finishes the lightning round, and that was very quick. Okay, so round 3 is going to, you'll have a minute and a half to answer the question, and these questions are 2 audience questions that Kirk has chosen. So
I feel like I need to explain myself a little bit because when you hear the questions that are going to get asked, you're going to look at the screen and you're going to say, those aren't the most popular questions. It's because a lot of the questions that have been asked are very, very good questions. Some of them have already been answered, so I didn't include those. And others we will still be getting to. So here are the couple of questions that were high on the list that I think are still remaining unanswered by our candidates.
thanks for that explanation, Kirk. Okay, so the first question is, and Rajah, you will be starting. These are from the audience. How will you improve the coordination of infrastructure projects? Examples include roads, bridges, LRT, and bike lanes. You have a minute and a half.
So, living on the West End, I'm just on 148th Street. And then so we were hit with the closure on 142nd and then 149th. And then so it's been a really big struggle to really get anywhere on the West End or to go downtown. So, I would advocate for better notice and timelines for impacted residents, stronger coordination between the city departments and utilities, and maintaining access and mobility throughout construction to make sure that folks can still be connected to the things that they need.
Okay, thank you for that answer. Next up is Joseph, and if you need me to, you want me to?
Yeah, can you
Okay,
repeat the
sure.
question again?
Yeah, so the question, Joseph, it's how will you improve the coordination of infrastructure projects? Examples include roads, bridges, LRT, and bike lanes.
Okay, so right now I think in some of these positions we have wrong people with wrong positions. And what I'm going to do, I'll give you an example. In China, to build a bridge, it takes you about 3 months or so. Here it takes 3 years or so. So you can see the difference. So when I'm in council, I'll make sure we bridge together and make sure the timelines are all met. If they are not, I'm going to make sure advocate for fines, larger fines for people who are not completing projects on time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that answer, Joseph. Diana, you have the floor.
So this seems like a very easy problem to fix. I would actually ask administration to coordinate because I think at this time they are not coordinating anything and talking to each other at all. That's it.
Okay, thank you for that answer. Reed?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. The West End has been hit hardest of any area of the city in terms of construction delays. You can't get around anywhere. There's closure all the time, whether it's LRT, whether it's roads, or it's EPCO or other services doing something. It seems like you can't drive around without running into something, right? So coordination is some of my fellow candidates is great, and we need to do that, and should be happening already. I don't know why it's not, to be honest. But you also need the leadership on council to take that position and to hold admin and fellow councillors, to the fire on this and be like, why are we doing this? What is the plan to make this happen? It seems like common sense, but you need someone to stand up and actually say, this is how we're going to have to do this because it doesn't make any sense to close down everything all at the same time.
Okay, thank you for that, Reed. Oh, sorry about that. I'll mention the question again, Nikki, because it was a while back. But how will you improve the coordination of infrastructure projects? Examples include roads, bridges, LRT, and bike lanes.
Great question. First, call all the department heads because I believe there is a problem that the top and the bottom are not talking to each other, and all the contractors involved, and map it out. And when they're coming, put it on a big board so we know what's happening. You don't close 87 and close 95th, a secondary route. So it's ridiculous what's happening right now. So we need to put a stop on that. If they're not coordinating, then we'll get some heads rolling.
Okay. Thank you for that answer. Again, great answers from all of you. Thank you for that first question. We will ask the second question now from the audience. And we'll be starting with you, Joseph. So the question is, what do you see as the most pressing issue for our ward, given the size and diversity of neighborhoods included here?
I think the main pressing issue here is the construction. It's everywhere. Near my house, we had construction for more than 3 years. The bridge doesn't end. So that's why I'm saying we need new leaders. We need new leadership so that we can fix these problems. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that answer. Diana, over to you.
So the ward is large, and the issues that we're facing here in this side of the ward and the issues that they're facing over in Seacourt and Rosenthal are completely different. But there is one thread amongst all of them, which is the citizens don't feel heard. They don't feel like they are being listened to at all. So I think for me, that is the biggest issue that everyone is facing. They want transparency, they want to be listened to, and they want their ideas moved forward, not City Council's ideological ideas.
Okay, thank you, Diana. Reid?
Yeah, I'll echo a little bit of that. There's definitely a sentiment when I've gone door knocking that there's an agenda from City Hall, and that's getting pushed through, and the voice of the citizens, the residents from the mature neighborhoods, Grow Road all the way to 231st Street is not being heard. So that needs to be addressed. I think transportation is definitely something coming up, whether it's construction or it's widening roads. People can't get around. If we don't have that benefit in the city of Edmonton, that is something that we have as a mid-sized city that we need to make sure. And then the infill bylaw needs to be addressed. It's affecting so many neighborhoods and mature neighborhoods all across the city, especially in this ward. And we need to make amendments to that and actually bring down the numbers and focus on nodes and corridors and put units on the corner where they actually make sense and on density spots where there's actually transportation and in 4-lane roads for them. So there's a bunch of issues there, but those are the main ones that I keep hearing.
Okay, thank you, Reid. Nikki, you're up. You want me to read the question again? Yes, absolutely. So what do you see as the most pressing issue for our ward, given the size and diversity of neighborhoods included here?
So 3 things. Deep West, it would be infrastructure because I've lived in that area for 15 years. And I've talked to the councillor and asked about the expansion of Winterburn Road. It hasn't been expanded. And if you know, Stony Plain Road, rush hour all the way to Winterburn is horrible. On the east side of things, obviously, we need to put a stop on infill, which is created by the city. There was no problem. Now they created some problems. And obviously, middle of the ward and generally, it's crime. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that answer. And yes, Winterburn, I would not envy anybody who has to drive up and down that road, for sure. Rajah, the last answer to you.
The biggest issue that connects all of these is growth. It's truly how our city is growing. Population-wise, geographically, whether it's in the suburbs or in mature communities like Crestwood, making sure our city knows exactly what the plan is to make sure that they're up to date. They are outpacing the plans that they even have right now to make sure that our city is keeping up with the growth that we're seeing. So it's impacting city services, it's impacting safety, it's impacting construction, and we are constantly playing catch up. So in addition to housing, we need to make sure that our infrastructure is there and that our city services are there for folks.
Okay, thank you to all the candidates for answering that question. We have a zoning bylaw question, which will be the last question that gets asked before closing statements for each candidate. And so the question is, what is your position regarding the new zoning bylaw? Do you have suggestions as to how city could better balance density with preservation of existing neighborhood characteristics? So we'll start this round with Diane.
Well, we know that the zoning bylaw is not working. Every single person that I have talked to in the mature neighborhoods is extremely unhappy, and they want to see this bylaw eliminated, gone, day one. And how can we balance that with growth? Well, first of all, I have some questions about whether or not we actually are short on housing right now, but that's a different conversation. We do have the ability to build responsible infill. I myself live in responsible infill. I'm in a triplex that was a single family home, a bungalow, and they put three homes there. We all have parking. We all have the ability to use our garbage bins, the green and the black, and nobody is crunched in. There's no problems at all. So we can do it responsibly. We just have to talk to the residents and figure out with experts how we're going to make that look.
Thank you, Diana. Next up is Reed.
Yeah, when we started door knocking and actually started walking the communities in the neighborhoods, it becomes very apparent, and I've heard time and time again that people aren't against density. They understand the need for them to grow. They're not against infill. They're against infill that disrespects their neighborhood, and not having responsible infill that isn't having some community-led solutions. So what I'd like to do is actually amend the zoning bylaw. One of the first priorities I'd like to do if I get on council, and I go down to four units on an end block. I'd like to keep mid-block to skinnies and duplexes, maybe with a garden suite, and I'd like to have one-to-one parking stalls. And I want to have actual architectural guidelines that have the look and feel of neighborhoods. And you know what? I don't actually think the zoning bylaw, the one-size-fit-all, isn't the solution. We actually have to look into the district plans. And they made some changes to those not that long ago, but they need to be looked at again. And then we can actually have infill that's done that respects a group of communities that are in those districts with a lot of community inputs, and they can have something that actually makes sense and they're proud of, right? So I like to make those changes. I like to make them right away.
Okay, thanks for that, Reed. Just going to reset the clock. So I'll just reread the question again, repeat it. What is your position regarding the new zoning bylaw? Do you have suggestions as to how the city would better balance density with preservation of existing neighborhood characteristics? Next up, Nicky.
Yes, as I've said, there was no problem. Why did we create a problem, right? So let's keep that mature neighborhood overlay, keep it that way for now. And density, there's a lot of people talking about density. We can build density around transit. One of the reasons why they're trying to build this is because they say, okay, the LRT is there. They're trying to justify the use of the LRT. If we're trying to justify the use of the LRT, we look at, I've traveled so much in the world, you look at other countries, and what they do is beside an LRT station or beside a bus station, they build high-rise. It doesn't affect anyone in the neighborhood as long as it doesn't affect anyone. An example would be if you go to Lewis Farms, beside that highway, there's nobody behind it, no houses behind it. If you build a 6-story there and densify, and it's very close to the transit center, it's very accessible. That's how I would do it.
Okay, thank you for that, Nicky. Rajah, over to you.
So, when it comes to infill within our mature neighborhoods and what we're seeing right now, there are 3 things that I would like to change to it. So the scale and the built form. There are examples of 4plexes and duplexes in Kenora, in Britannia Youngstown, and in Grosvenor that are more so in scale and the same size as a large mature family home. As well as the predictability. So the city currently doesn't have infill design guidelines, which is a really big mistake. I want to go into every single neighborhood and see, when a neighborhood was built and characteristics that people would like to see maintained within their neighborhood. And then lastly, the engagement, making sure that we go in with residents about what they want to see maintained, whether that's green space, whether that is, parking, what they're comfortable seeing evolve. So those corner lots. And then, evolve, maintain, and then areas that need major transformation. So an area like Stony Plain Road where you need to actually really have some dedicated redevelopment going on in that area as well. But then, within this as well is the fact that we need to make sure that we're holding developers accountable. So bolstering up the developers who are doing good work and making sure that that can be replicated. But, there are developers who have been going beyond the height maximum, who are, going to the very maximum of their build, and that's not what we need either.
Thank you, Rajah. And Joseph, over to you.
May you repeat the question again?
Absolutely. So what is your position regarding the new zoning bylaw? Do you have suggestions as to how the city could better balance density with preservation of existing neighborhood characteristics?
Okay. First of all, I want an immediate moratorium on new infill. I want to implement a temporary pause on new infill projects until a full audit of existing infrastructure like sewers, schools, roads is completed. I went to one area just here in Crestwood, and I saw a 16-plex in one yard. Where are these people going to park their vehicles? If we just assume that we have 2 vehicles at one house, That means we have 32 vehicles there. Where are they going to park? So common sense is not working here. So I want us to put a pause on all these new infills. And also, there's a lot of land which I see around there, whereby the city can develop new places there. They can go and have land there. Why are they going to this mature neighborhood, disturbing our life there? I think it's wrong on my part. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to all the candidates for answering that question. A round of applause, please. All right, so we have reached almost the end of our program here for this forum. It'll be now the closing statement from each candidate. So again, you will have a minute and a half, and at the minute 15 mark, I'll hit the bell, and then we'll ask you to wrap up by a minute 30. We're going to start with Reed first.
All right, so let's do this. Okay, thank you, Min, and the Crestwood Community League for hosting tonight. This is a really great opportunity for our ward to hear directly from our candidates and our priorities. Over the past several months, I've knocked on thousands of doors in every neighborhood across the ward. And Nakota Isga, West End, I hear you. I hear your frustrations, your hopes, and your ideas of building a stronger community. I've heard from Joe, whose neighborhood has been destroyed by some profit-driven developments. I've spoken to Denise, who doesn't feel safe taking her kids to the park because of the needles in there. I've talked to Audrey, who's told me how much her commute has tripled from the West End due to poor city planning. These conversations have shaped my priority and reinforced why local leadership matters. I've listened, and now it's time for action. If I have the privilege of becoming your next city councilor, I'll carry your voice with me in every decision, every debate at City Hall. I'll work tirelessly every day to make sure these decisions are made with transparency and the taxpayer dollars that you're putting in are spent where they make a real difference in people's lives. My promise to you is simple. I'll stay connected to the ward. I will represent the community and will always be the voice of the people. And I'll make Edmonton the best city in Canada for businesses to thrive. Together, we can bring back civic pride, collaboration, and common sense that will make Edmonton, wait for it, the city of champions once again. All right, vote Reed Clarke. Thank you.
Thanks, Reed. Next up is Nicky.
Over the past 4 years, the city has taken massive debt, and I hear the concern about it at every door I knock. Yet despite this, spending services haven't improved, and now debt repayment is one of the largest items in our budget. That money should be invested in our neighborhood, in our families, and the growth of the local economy. Meanwhile, businesses are leaving Edmonton for neighboring cities, not because they don't want to be here, but because the system makes it too hard. Getting a business permit should not take 4 to 11 months in our city. In St. Albert, it takes 3 days. In Strathcona County, it takes a week. We need to make Edmonton business friendly again, attract investment, and create more jobs and opportunities our city deserves. I am not against infill, and I agree with skinnies. And just to clarify that, and also, I'm against bike lanes on roads, okay? So we also need to restore safety in our downtown, in our communities, and on transit system. If we don't act, the billions invested in our city is going to waste. It's time for real change. I'm ready to do the work, but I can't do it alone. Together, we can build a city that is safe, prosperous, and fair for everyone. And I will listen to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicky. Rajah, over to you.
Well, thank you everyone for being here tonight and for caring so deeply about the future of your communities. I know that in Crestwood, infill is a top issue. Residents want thoughtful, responsible growth that preserves the character of their neighborhoods. And also there are many other challenges that matter, like building safe and vibrant streets, supporting small businesses, improving affordability, and ensuring public services work for everyone. These issues are all connected, and they all deserve a counselor who can listen, understand, and deliver real solutions. That's why I'm running. I bring experience from inside City Hall, hands-on work in the community, and a record of getting things done, but more importantly, as a community member. I know how to balance competing priorities, hold developers and stakeholders accountable, and make decisions that reflect the needs of the people who live here. On election day, I ask for your trust and your vote, and together we can ensure Ward Nakota Isga, from Crestwood to the far West End, grows responsibly, safely, and sustainably, while building neighborhoods that are vibrant, inclusive, and thriving for everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Rajah. Next up is Joseph.
Thank you for your time, your honest questions, and your commitment to this city. If there's one thing I want you to take away tonight, it is this. The status quo is failing us, and we must stop accepting it. For too long, the people in power have sat in a place of privilege, throwing more of your tax dollars at recurring problems without fixing them. They have allowed our core services to crumble. They have wasted tens, if not hundreds, of millions of tax dollars, your hard-earned money, on ill-planned projects, and they have ignored the escalating human crisis on our streets and within our communities. The old guard is out of touch, and their time is up. My campaign, Joseph Mugodo, for City Council, is the campaign focused on the heart and centered on action. I promise you fiscal discipline, forcing a full, transparent audit of every single discretionary dollar that is spent by this city. I will redirect the waste we find into the essentials, fixing and cleaning our roads, fully funding our fire and rescue services, and ensuring our transit is safe. And crucially, we'll move towards community-encouraged action. We will treat addiction and homelessness as a public service, a public health crisis, and partner directly with community organizations on the front lines, and not just talk about it from the ivory tower. I will champion advocacy for our neighborhoods, guaranteeing your voice, not political party ideology, guides our city's future.
That's time, Joseph.
We are
Thank
all
you.
in this together. Give me your vote, and I'll be your voice. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. And Diana, your closing statement, please.
Okay, thank you for joining us here tonight. I am a born and raised Edmontonian who has called Crestwood home for nearly 20 years. For 8 years, I had the pleasure of serving as Crestwood's president, during which time we achieved significant milestones. We completed 2 phases of the redevelopment project, successfully fought to keep the community footbridge, published a 100th anniversary book, secured official recognition for Candy Cane Lane after 50 years. During COVID, with full board support, I was at this hall every single day and made over 1,000 COVID check-in videos. I partnered with Andy's IGA to form a 50-person volunteer committee to deliver food to residents who were unable to leave their homes. And I created the local community Crime Watch Facebook pages many of you rely on for up-to-date information. And these are just some of the examples of my commitment to Crestwood. Recently, someone from a neighboring community who holds concerns about vote splitting remarked that I am too protective of Crestwood, the community in which I have raised my children and own a home. And while it wasn't intended as a compliment because he was asking me to step aside in this race, I could not process it any other way. Ward Nakota Isga has an opportunity to ignite the same fierce dedication that I have poured into Crestwood. You have an opportunity to harness me. You deserve a passionate advocate who will fight for all of Nakota Isga just as successfully as I did for Crestwood. I ask for your consideration on October 20th. Thank you.
Thanks, Diana. That concludes the questions and the closing statements. I want to thank all of the candidates for a very robust forum and some great answers and showing respect to each other, and for the crowd showing respect to you. Appreciate the questions coming in, and I want to thank the organizers for bringing me in tonight. I mean, it's going to be a tough choice, I think, come October 20th, but it sounds like this community is in pretty good hands. Some very thoughtful people running to represent this community. So thank you, everyone. I'll hand the mic over to Steve.
Don't get it all. You're all good. It's not as good as everyone tells you. First, I'd like to thank Min again for just a fabulous job. Really appreciate it, taking your time. It's wonderful. And I'd also like... There we go. I'd also like to thank the candidates. Really great job as well. Enjoyed it. I think we learned a lot, heard a lot of good things, and it is going to be a tough choice. So maybe we can just elect you all as a group. I'm not sure. A shout out's also due to volunteers, helped us at the door, collecting tickets, setting up the room, and so forth. A special thank you to the board members, Clarke, Kelly, and Gerard. who really did all the work. I just do interviews and stuff like that. But they were fantastic. And Brian Rose as well, who filmed this for us. We're going to get it out on YouTube or some such thing in the next couple of days, and you can check our social media for details of that. And last but not least, I'd like to thank all of you for being here, taking your time. I mean, there's Blue Jay games, there's Oilers games. I won't tell you the score. I checked it up. I don't want any spoiler alerts. Just don't get in accidents or something on the way home. Last but not least, hope the evening's been informative and worthwhile. And all elections are important, but this one is a biggie. So please get out and vote. Encourage your neighbors to get out and vote. October 20th. It matters. So that's about it. Thank you very much. And 4 years from now, we'll be back.